Welcome to the Super Speedway.
Yeah, you tell them, Kevin. Go get them. Go yell at a bunch of spotters. Nobody likes me up here anyway, so it's fine. Nobody likes me down here.
Welcome to episode 191 of the Super Speedway podcast, recorded Thursday, April 22nd, 2021. I'm your host, Eric Young, and I am joined by my co-host, James Cush. James, I think we can sympathize with that whole nobody likes us anyway, right?
Yeah. If it wasn't backed up by fact, it would be less sad.
I like the fact that Alex Bowman is embracing the fact that he doesn't have a lot of fans on the track. That's good.
Hey, when you're up and coming through the ranks, he's still early on in his career. You're gonna have to fight that fight.
Yep.
So I don't feel bad for him when he gets the W like that, man.
Right, and I mean, if we think back to Radioactive's past, how many people have complained about Alex Bowman on the radio? There's a lot of people that complain about Alex Bowman on the radio.
Yeah,
but hey,
pain in the butt.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to be.
Yeah, some of the best ones are pains in the butt.
Just ask Ryan Newman.
Yeah, exactly. I saw during the race, actually, that's funny you brought that up. I think it was Hamlin was leading at the time, and he was coming up on Newman. I'm just like, oh man, Newman's gonna give him such a hard time. Maybe it might have even been Bowman towards the end of the race.
Yeah,
it all blurs together when we ran as many laps as we did.
Yeah. Toyota Owners 400 Richmond Raceway this weekend. Alex Bowman gets the win, steals one from Denny Hamlin late in the race. Third win, right? Third win for Alex Bowman in his career?
Third win in his career, yes, sir.
So, James, before we get into this race, where does this put Alex Bowman for us? So, I know the stories popped up immediately after this that they're working on his contract's up at the end of this year. They're working on signing an extension with him. Where, when they announced when he filled in for Dale Jr., we were like, hey, cool, he's getting a chance. He's been grinding and he's getting a chance to show his stuff. And then they named him the replacement driver for Dale Earnhardt Jr. And we're like, are you freaking kidding me? Really, this kid?
Yeah, exactly. We both did that. You weren't alone, man.
Yeah,
I was right there with you.
And so now he's clicked off a few wins. He hasn't set the world on fire, but he's been consistent. Where is he? Where does he rank? What do we make of him right now?
I don't know. It's tough. I would put him a step below Ryan Blaney, maybe. I think Blaney's one of those. I think Blaney's a step below.
Okay, so I'm going to challenge you on that.
No. Let me. Yeah, and here's kind of where I put Blaney. There's top tier talent. And I think Blaney's right underneath that very top tier, and then right below that I got Bowman.
Okay.
That's kind of where I settle.
So,
Blaney's kind of the middle.
So you are of the mindset then that Ryan Blaney is very unlucky, I'm assuming, because you're putting him right near that elite talent, but he doesn't really have the results to back that up.
I feel like he's left a lot more on the table than he's taken advantage of at this point in his career.
But is that what is the difference between an elite driver and not, though?
I think that's part of it, though. I think there's elite drivers who definitely take advantage of their opportunities. Now, there's definitely bad luck. I mean, listen, in racing, luck plays a big role in a lot of things.
Right. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I will agree that Ryan Blaney has had some terrible freaking luck.
He's had some terrible freaking luck. Yeah, he has, and he's left. Boy, Todd's not going to like this conversation.
No, he's not. But I'm good with that.
No, that's fine. But no, I just think that drivers going through development. I think that's where Blaney is right now in that portion of his development. Can he? There's a guy similar to him that is a little bit younger, William Byron. I think Byron's in that same class. He's had some opportunities. He's also hasn't shown the growth of Blaney yet either. So, but now it seems like both of those guys are starting to emerge a little bit more. We've seen Byron win a couple now, and we're seeing Blaney, especially last year. I didn't like the way Blaney faded at the end of last year. I don't know how we got in this conversation. This is good stuff.
What happens is there's nothing to talk about this week. So this is me just throwing crap at the wall.
News, right?
It's throwing crap at the wall and seeing what sticks.
I was totally unprepared for the Ryan Blaney career breakdown.
I would never go in this
no,
rabbit hole if we had a bunch of news items coming up.
It's
But
so good. It's so good. But anyway, that's I think that's where I land with it.
I also
anyway.
will not ever refuse a challenge to get you to back up your statements,
Hey,
especially
Good
one
with
that can be kind of controversial, maybe.
Yeah, kind of controversial, maybe. Yes.
Yeah.
Let me be clear. Like, Ryan Blaney is one of my favorite drivers to watch.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to take a shot at Ryan Blaney by any means. It's
right.
just
well, no, but you're ranking Bowman below Blaney, and I just wanted to make sure that you're comfortable with that ranking. And I think you're giving Blaney maybe more credit than I would give Blaney.
Oh, okay. That's an interesting take.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't think you're ripping on Blaney. I think quite the opposite.
Well, listen,
I think you might be praising Blaney more than I would.
Well, listen, I mean, there's 3 drivers at Hendrick right now that have wins, and there's a guy on that team who's a defending Cup champion who does not. And
true.
Bowman's one of those guys. Like, he has, listen, that was not a race that Bowman should have won. But that was one hell of a drive to take it from Denny Hamlin.
So
the team performed at the here's another thing to consider, Eric. Like, there was a couple weeks ago, Ryan Blaney had a chance to put that race away, and his team screwed it up. Screwed it up on pit road. Bowman's team put him in a position, and he took it, man. He took it right home to the bank. So, that's all part of it too. Like, that was a big deal to get Bowman out in a spot where he could capture the lead. And if that race goes, I don't know, Eric, what do you think, 10 15 laps longer, he probably doesn't win that race, but for whatever reason, that 15 lap run that he had was exactly what he needed. Got the job done.
Yeah I mean, this is Alex Bowman. Alex Bowman is a consistent good finisher who sneaks a win in once every year or so,
Ryan Newman.
Honestly, that's what he's done. At the last 3 years, he has 1 win. Yep. Of course, he's got this one on the 9th race of the season, so he's got some opportunities to increase that yet. But 1 win every year, last 3 years, But yeah, I mean, if you look at average finishes, he's consistent. 14.4, 14.7, 17.1 this year so far.
Well, here's another good one for you, Eric, since we have this is what we'll call the slow news week pod. Another guy that I would throw at you that's Bowman-esque, and it's kind of funny to think about it. Kurt Busch.
Yeah.
He since 2006, he's not
Kurt Busch iteration 3.
Yeah, Kurt Busch since 2006.
Yeah.
I mean, we hold Kurt Busch in high regard, but ever since 2006, he has only won 2 races in a season. That's his highest number of all those years. So I mean, he gets 1 win a year, but he's also got a championship in the bank
right
at that point too. But we hold him in very high regard, and that's kind of been his career. You look at Eric, since 2016, he's gotten 1 win every single season.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a great run.
Right.
But that's
a lot of drivers would be happy with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Benedetto would be happy with that.
We think of Kurt Busch in very high esteem, but again, he is a Cup champion, and that's well deserved. Right. But still, yeah, something to consider there.
It was a past life for Kurt Busch, just about.
It was a long time ago. He won that championship at such a young age. He's got such an interesting career.
Yeah. And I mean, likely the only one. I mean,
yeah,
I can't imagine him coming back again. I mean, I guess with this format he could do it, but I don't see it happening.
Yeah, like it's kind of like Matt Kenseth too. He had a nice flash and got a nice run there, but Matt Kenseth had opportunities to win more titles. I don't know if Kurt ever got back to that, to that form. Right. after that, but. Anyway, that was a good divergence. Wow. Well done, Eric. I think you added a good 5 or 6 minutes to the pod.
There you go. That's my goal. That is my goal in life, is to make sure that we hit that hour and 10 minute mark that we aim for every week, completely blind.
Exactly.
Denny Hamlin leads 207 laps of this race at his home track, and I use quotes around home track because he's got like 7 home tracks. But
him and Truex. Yeah.
This is the true home track for Denny Hamlin, I feel.
Yeah.
Martin Truex Jr., you mentioned him, 107 laps for him. 100 less than Denny. And then Joey Logano leads 49, and Brad Keselowski leads 25.
Yeah, that was weird. Can we talk about that for a minute since you brought him up? What in the heck was that? What was going on with that pit call?
I don't know. That was one of those things that was like, hey, this sounds like a good idea. And by the time they realized it wasn't, it was way too freaking late to back out of it.
Yeah. Were they banking on a caution? I mean,
they had to be. Why would you bank on a caution in this race? We haven't had a caution. They said it on the Fox broadcast. We haven't had a caution for anything for cause since 2019 at Richmond.
That's ridiculous, man. Until
and this is the action track, James.
Yeah, I know. Well, it used to be. I know. Yeah.
They need to put some sealer down in this place again or something. I don't know what they need to do here.
That was the discussion this week. And for those who don't know, this track always used to be run at night, and they used to put this thing down called sealer on the blacktop. And it made this place pretty wicked.
It was like an ice skating rink.
I remember great racing at Richmond.
Yeah,
I mean,
it used to be one of the best tracks. There were some good fights after the races, and you had to rough people up.
The only Richmond race I can remember in the last decade that was any good was when Carl moved Kyle.
Yeah. Yep.
What was that? Was that 16? That had to be 16 or 7. Like the spring race in 16, I think it was. And
prior to that, you got to go back to COT to get. I mean, Dale Jr. and Kyle Busch, those races. Yeah,
Kyle Busch taking out Dale. Yeah. This was a great finish for this race, but if not for that Kevin Harvick caution, it's a complete mess.
Yeah,
it was the long run all day, and you have that gamble by the 2, and they said they wanted to save tire. They were glad they had an extra set of tires, but I mean, golly, everybody had enough tires at the end of the day.
I know NASCAR. International Speedway Corporation, SMI, has removed a lot of grandstands from tracks, but all you have to do is look at how many grandstands are missing from Richmond now versus what used to be there to know that there is a major problem with this track right now.
Yeah, Michigan and Richmond have lost so many seats. Yeah. I
mean, this place had stands all the way around it, and now it's just the front stretch.
Yeah, yeah. So
every time we come back here, there's another section of grandstands gone.
Right. And so, my brother-in-law, Mike, thanks for listening, Mike. He's been listening to our show. That's awesome. An early shout out for you.
Nice.
He's been getting into racing quite a bit this year. And, I kind of feel bad that he had to sit through Richmond a little bit because like Talladega's looming and we're all excited. But you go into Richmond and you get that for a show. It's tough. Like, I don't like was it a good race or what's wrong with this track and trying to fix NASCAR all the time? But we got some major issues going on.
We could take a bulldozer to this one.
Make it a dirt track. There you go.
Anything else to talk about with this Cup race? I mean, Eric Almirola ran really well in this one. He did really well, finished 6th.
Yeah, that was a great run for him. Bell, another good run for him. Byron,
Joe Gibbs Racing in general, they were just they're good all day.
Yep.
And then we had speeding penalty for Kyle Busch. We had missing pit road almost for Kyle Busch. What did Truex speed? I can't remember. It was speed.
Yeah, Truex sped and he did not lose a lap. Did he? Yeah, he didn't lose a lap.
Right. He stayed out. He made it. Kept on the lead lap. Kyle lost a lap.
That was incredible.
That was incredible.
I mean, that was.
But both of them still came back for a top 10 finish. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the race stayed green long enough, and that's the thing. Like Truex had such a fast car, and that's kind of what played into Bowman's hand as well. It's not like he didn't have a fast car. We were just so strung out all day.
Yeah.
That when he finally got the opportunity to jump up a couple of spots to take that last restart, his team had been working on that car all day, made one last adjustment for that final run. And meanwhile, when you're Denny Hamlin, what are you going to adjust? When you're the 11 team, how many changes can you make to that car throughout the day when you're leading that many laps? Same with Truex. You're already fast. How much can you really adjust? And Eric, I was going to ask you this. How much like, because we're not practicing anymore, how much do you think that's been an effect for a lot of these finishes here? Because we're seeing some late races being stolen, like Atlanta, the Daytona road course, I guess doesn't really count, but that one was a late race type of pass. But you're seeing some guys emerge late in some of these races, and I'm wondering if it's just because their teams, without practice, maybe the way that they're tinkering throughout the race has given them more opportunity.
Yeah, you could be right. I didn't really think about it. That's probably a pretty good take.
It seems like a far-fetched theory on my end, but again, we're fishing.
Can I make an unpopular opinion right now?
Yeah, hit me.
I want practice back, man.
Yeah, me too. I do too.
I miss it. You know, I didn't watch it a whole lot, but certainly if I was at the track, I'd miss it. And you know, I think you just learn stuff. Dale Jr.'s talked about it on his podcast. You just learn stuff.
Even if we just do happy hours again.
Yeah.
Like honestly, like just some on track activity.
Do what IndyCar does and run hot laps in the morning before the race. You know, it gives you a chance. So like those of us who actually put effort despite the fact that we suck at it in fantasy, you know, it's cool because you can actually get kind of an idea what to expect with fantasy. You get a little bit of an idea what to expect going on the race. I don't really like this going into a race completely blind thing. I kind of liked having an idea of who's going to be strong this week. And, you know, it was fun when I was covering the races to go like, well, Joey Logano is at Michigan and he's dominating the practice sessions. He's going to be a guy to watch this weekend.
And
then see what he does in the race, you know? And
yeah.
It's like, I don't know. I miss it. I really hope we go back to it.
I think we will next year. Yeah.
I feel like we have to.
That new car is going to be such an adjustment. We're going to have to we're just going to need data on tires and how the car is, you know, doing everything that it's doing. So I think next year we will definitely get back to that. But
I even miss qualifying.
Yeah, I know.
You know, it was fun to flip the TV on Friday while I was at work and like have qualifying or practice going on in the background. That was cool.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I agree. I'm ready to get it back, and hopefully once this year's over, we can get to it again. But yeah, I just it's kind of these things that I think about. When I'm going for a run or something, it's like I have these dumb like earworms that I always think about, and that was just one of them. It's like, okay, why is this happening? But this is me also not looking, super hard into the data like, David Smith
right
either. So, but just some food for thought.
A couple more things to hit on in this race. I wanted to mention, first of all, Ryan Blaney finishes 11th. That is basically a win for Ryan Blaney at this track. Not good here at all.
Yeah, Austin Dillon 10th, right?
Yeah, I was going to say that too.
And I was going to throw him to Benedetto again. Yeah. He was so bad earlier in this season. These finishes for him have been really valuable. So just a couple of those guys I thought we'd mention.
I know that who was I looking at here? Well, Daniel Suarez ran well, and Kyle Larson was freaking off the map in this race. That's where I was going. Yeah, my God, what a horrible pick for me.
Yeah, you picked him, and I kept looking for him on the leaderboard. I'm like, where's Kyle? Like, he should be up here, and they just missed it.
He was there at the very beginning and then just gone.
Yeah, they just totally missed it.
So bad.
Totally missed it. That was really weird. That was strange.
Yeah.
He was just never even a thought all day. He was just there running laps.
James, we're 9 races into the season now. Let's evaluate Bubba Wallace and 23XI's performance. What do we think of them so far? Are we off the bandwagon of Bubba Wallace is going to get a win this year? Is this just growing pains? Is it bad luck? What?
Listen, man. With Talladega coming up and the Toyotas, I am not saying that he's not going to win a race just yet. But I think
it's disappointing though, right? This is not what we were hoping. I think it's okay. Let me go out on a limb and say this is what I was expecting from a brand new team. Yeah, but I don't think a lot of people were.
Well, and I think you get blinded by dollar signs sometimes, and you see all of the sponsorship. You see Michael Jordan, you see the stars and the glamour that comes with this team. But really, what people don't remember is this team was started so late in the off season. They're really still playing catch up, and honestly. This team wasn't built for this year. This team's built for 2022. So I just think that you're seeing some of the early growing pains that a young team is going to have. But that being said, we're going to Talladega and Bubba can perform there, and he's got Toyota stuff. So if they're gearing up for one shot, I won't say he's not going to win just yet, but this is what you expect, I think.
Do you think if Bubba Wallace finishes the season with a 20th or worse average finish that he's in a 23 car next year?
I think he's coming back.
Think so?
Yeah, I think so. I just think there's a big partnership there.
Okay. I don't disagree with you. I think he's brought the sponsorship, and I think he's got a ride for a couple years. Just based on that, I think that the popularity is going to get him there. He's definitely getting publicity. I listen to everybody bitch every week that Fox runs their graphic with Bubba Wallace in it, despite the fact that he hasn't won a race.
Yeah.
My God, I can't even look at the comments on Facebook every time they post that
Oh,
graphic. It's
every
like,
time they post
shut
on
up,
Bubba,
people.
I know. But here's the thing, like, too, Bubba's passing stats are really good. Some of his like, based on where he's running in the race, he actually averages very well.
Yeah.
But what you want to see is that gradual improvement from the top 15, top 20 into, you want to see him running in the top 10 every week, and then you turn that into a top 5.
Well, that's the thing.
Like,
if he was
we're far away from that yet.
If he was running top 5 and finishing 16th to 20th, that'd be a different story. But he's not running there either.
Yeah. I think we're still early in the building process right now.
I agree. It's too early to evaluate.
Yeah, and I think, like, he's one of those. I think Chase Briscoe's another one. Who's even said this cup racing thing's really hard. There's a lot of growing pains with some of this stuff, and I think Bubba's driving talent is not the issue here. It's just the team is new, and they're going to get there. And that's why I'm always amazed by Trackhouse. And I know they're not doing all of their own stuff, but the fact that team is performing as well as it has, that's been the shocker. The fact that Trackhouse is actually better than 2311 is definitely like an eye opener for me. That's why I've been kind of enjoying their ride this season. That's been a fun team to watch.
Let me throw this one out for you too. And I'm not hating on Bubba Wallace. I love Bubba Wallace. Absolutely love Bubba Wallace. I want to see him be successful. You say driving talent is not the issue. I agree. I also do not think that Bubba Wallace is a Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin level driver.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I think Bubba Wallace.
Talking about earlier.
We were talking about Alex Bowman. I think Bubba Wallace is an Alex Bowman, level driver. Again, nothing against Alex Bowman. He's somebody that can come out and win a race or two a year, but I don't think he's an elite driver.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah, we've seen Bubba do some.
I hope he proves me wrong.
Yeah, me too. Oh yeah, me too. And I hope they all prove us wrong.
Yeah.
Like, I hope that.
Yeah, I got nothing against these guys. I'd love to see Alex Bowman go click off some championships and.
Yeah, for sure.
How about getting the 48 car back in victory lane? That was cool.
Yeah, the same day that Jimmy Johnson was making his IndyCar debut.
Yeah,
I mean that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we didn't put that in the notes, but
he got a shout out from Jimmy Johnson 24 hours after he won.
Yep.
I'm gonna leave that comment right there and let you think about that.
Right.
But that was cool. I mean, that was great to see the 48 get back in victory lane. I know technically the 5 team was the 48, but that doesn't matter. Still the 48 Ally car. Very cool. Yeah, absolutely. Eric, since we were talking about Bubba Wallace, I mean, I feel like we should dip into news maybe just a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it's just
why not? Point. We hardly have any.
Why not? Yeah. So Netflix announced that they're in production of a season long documentary with Bubba. What do you think about that? Like,
I wanted your opinion on it because I know how big of a fan you are of the Formula One series.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking this is probably going to be very similar, right?
Yeah, I would think it's not going to have the great thing that the Formula One doc does, like it's
full access.
It's full access, and I feel like it's like the best reality show on TV because you've got all these different characters that play.
Yeah.
This is going to be a little bit more segmented into one team, but you've got Michael, you've got Denny Hamlin probably involved as well, so you've got some characters here.
I think it's cool. I'll watch it.
Well, and honestly, Eric, the Drive to Survive series on Netflix has brought a lot of people over to F1.
Yeah.
And they're actually watching races. If we can get a little bit of that over to NASCAR because of Bubba, he's definitely the personality type that you want to feature on a doc. You know, how many guys can you really say that for? I mean, he's definitely on the short list of guys you'd want on a doc.
Yeah.
He's probably one of the best ones. I mean, who else are you going to have? I mean, Kyle Busch would be one.
Yeah, I don't think Kyle Busch would be that interesting.
I'd like to see one on Blaney myself, honestly. Yeah. I think he's kind of a cool cat off the track. Chase Elliott would maybe be one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have my issues sometimes with Chase. But honestly, I think Bubba's one of the better personalities in the sport.
No, if you were to say pick a driver that you'd like to see a camera follow around, especially in this day and age, I would say him. Back in the day, James, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I loved the NASCAR 360. Every time they followed Kevin Harvick around, I thought Harvick was fun.
Yeah,
Harvick's an old man now. He's not as much fun anymore.
Yeah. Well, there's guys from the past, obviously, you could really, it would have been
Oh,
fun to
yeah.
follow Junior around and
Junior would be
smoke and
great. Yeah.
all those guys would have been a lot of fun. But yeah, I mean, right now, like Kevin Harvick, he's a dad now, so
Yeah.
we know we're dads, we're boring.
Yep. Very boring.
So yeah,
I have given into the
this.
fact that I'm a very boring person.
I
finally accepted it.
I gave up on that life a long time ago, man.
But
But
I always wanted to fight it and think that maybe I had some sort of excitement, but there's
well,
none.
you should have just asked me. I could have told you that.
Yeah,
Jeez.
I know.
We've done.
I didn't want to know, James.
Well, we did 100. This is our 191st episode of Boring Podcasting.
Right.
So, no, that's sorry. I mean, we know what we are.
Yeah.
Listen, we're good.
Yeah, we're not hiding.
Yeah. No, but I was just gonna say, like, if anybody hasn't checked out, I know I've plugged it a couple of times, but the F1 series on Netflix, Drive to Survive, is so good. Please check it out, and I am very much looking forward to this Bubba thing, because Eric, what's going to end up happening is the timing's going to be, this thing's going to come out in January.
Yep.
And it's going to be right before the 500.
Yep.
So that's going to be timed out perfectly. So
If
hopefully
it
we
doesn't,
can catch.
if it doesn't, they better do it. I mean,
Yeah,
if they don't do that, they will screw up, because that's when everybody is eager.
Yeah. Well, Drive to Survive, I'll tell you what, I watched the third season right before the first race of the F1 season. And I've been checking in on F1 just because it's, I just follow. I like these guys, man. It's cool. I'm super interested in the, it gets into that personality aspect of auto racing, which I think is I think that plays a big role.
Yeah.
So
I just
think it
can't,
drives interest.
I can't keep up. There's too much stuff.
There's
that
too
I
much
wanna
stuff.
follow.
I know.
It's Supercross season. It's almost done. There's 2 more weeks of Supercross. And then I feel like there's a little bit of time left in my life, but I'm trying to follow IndyCar. The problem with Formula 1 too is that
you like live events more than anything.
Yeah, and
that's your thing.
That's the problem with Formula 1 is, like, it's all over the world, so your times are really screwy.
Yeah,
and you forget there's a race going on and it's already done at 9 o'clock in the morning. Like, it screws with you. Before we leave the Cup Series, James, I just wanted to point out, we are 9 races into the Cup Series. We have 8 different winners so far this season. Are we hitting 16?
Yeah, I hope so.
I feel like we gotta be getting good there.
We got 5 road courses, Talladega and Daytona. That's a lot of opportunity for lots of other people to steal wins.
If we get somebody that comes in and wins this week at Talladega that is unexpected, I think we can almost say, yeah, it's happening, because we're so close. We only need 8 more winners.
I know. Well, like let's say Ryan Newman wins Talladega.
Yeah.
Then you go to your road courses. I mean, there's a couple of guys who can win. I mean, Kurt Busch could win a road course. Obviously, Chase Elliott.
Yeah, Chase Elliott hasn't even won yet.
Kyle Busch hasn't won.
Yeah.
So it's the guys who have won. And Denny Hamlin hasn't won. I mean, he's the points leader by a country mile.
Right.
But still, he hasn't won. I mean, Eric Almirola could win Talladega or Daytona too. So yeah, we've got some opportunity here. This is gonna be interesting. I do feel bad for the 34 team, because I think they might end up getting bumped here. Yeah,
that'd be too bad. At the same time, I mean, they're not going to do anything in the playoffs anyway. So
no, I know. So yeah, we have to rethink this guaranteed playoff spot rule, though, because this year's definitely changing that for sure.
Yeah, but how often is this going to happen? It's not going to happen that often.
No. Well, maybe next year, a new car. Who knows?
True. That is true.
And there's somebody's going to flat out dominate. That's usually how it goes.
Yep.
Years like last year are usually the way it goes. Maybe not to that extreme. Last year was pretty extreme with 2 guys doing what they were doing.
Right.
But we've got 3 guys win like that before. It's typically the norm. I think Truex is probably going to steal a few more wins here before this thing's done.
Yep. Let's talk Truck Series real quick. Toyota Care 250. James, don't you just hate it when Kyle Busch comes down to these lower series and dominates these races and beats? Wait a minute, he didn't win?
He didn't win. I guess he kind of did.
His car won. John Hunter Nemechek leads 114 laps, dominates this race, beats his boss. Kyle finishes second. James picks John Hunter Nemechek this week, which sucked. This solidified James's win on me this week. Between this and Kyle Larson sucking, that was it.
Yeah, I almost had both winners. I had John Hunter and Denny.
Yeah.
And Alex Bowman ruined that for me and ruined my fantasy day.
I was so mad when Denny Hamlin was leading that freaking cup race. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And I wanted Denny to win because I like Denny, and I'm cheering for Denny this
We're
year.
doing these dang picks in this dang fantasy league, and you start thinking about it, and all I think is, God, I hate this.
Yep. Yeah, I just gave ourselves another reason to hate.
I know
Who's finishing where.
Yeah, geez. So has the hate for John Hunter Nemechek started to creep in just a little bit? Like, what are you doing down here?
Nah. No, because he's committed at least. He's all in. He's running for the points here. I'm fine with it. Does it seem like he's cherry picking a little bit? Sure. And maybe this is one of those instances that, I really like what Supercross does. There's a certain number of points that you can earn in Supercross in a lower series, at which point you're not allowed to go down here and compete anymore. Maybe that's the way to do something like this. But I mean, John Hunter's not been there long enough dominating yet. If he goes back down next year, then I'm going to be like, okay, man, come on, find yourself a ride at a higher series. But
this is his, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is his 9th year.
Yeah, but it's his first year in a competitive truck.
I'm just, hey, listen, man, I'm just throwing out the numbers.
I got you.
I'm not saying anything else.
Yeah. It's his first time in a competitive truck. By the way. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. You put anybody with decent talent in a Kyle Busch Motorsports truck for the full season.
His career average finish is 12.9. His average finish this season is 9.0. So this is definitely a bump for him.
I mean, what's he do next year, James? Can he get a cup ride next year?
I think he just wants to win races. I don't know what he wants. I don't really honestly know what he wants. Does he want to go to Xfinity and try to win there? I don't know.
I think coming down here, if he wins the title down here, I think his next step has got to be Cup again.
Well, this came up on the positive regression pod, and the David Smith was like irritated with this move because he's like, you're not showing me anything down here by dominating. You're just doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
You're not, if you were staying
I think you're reminding people that you're a good driver.
That's true. I don't disagree with that.
That you have a resume,
Yeah, I just think this going back that far to the Truck Series is maybe a step too far. I thought if he could go to the Xfinity Series, maybe that's one thing, but either way, he's climbing the ladder again.
I don't know. I guess it depends on how you look at the Truck Series, James. Do you look at the Truck Series as a level below the Xfinity Series or not? I think sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not.
I think you look at the guys you're racing against too.
Right. I mean, we've seen drivers though in the Truck Series jump straight to Cup. I mean, you can bypass the Xfinity Series.
I mean, listen, man, he went toe to toe with Kyle Busch and beat the guy.
Yeah.
So that's as good as it gets.
Yep.
You're not going to beat anybody better than Kyle Busch on any of these tracks, and Kyle races in all 3 series. So if you're beating Kyle Busch, no matter what series it is, you're beating Kyle Busch.
Right.
Honestly, he's the best in the business. So
we just managed to get a lot of time out of a race where one guy led almost half the race.
Yeah, and KBM flat out dominated.
Yeah.
Outside of Nemechek, Kyle led 26, Chandler Smith led 24.
Yep.
I'd love to see Chandler Smith start sneaking these wins out, but he's not quite there yet. Other than that, Grant Enfinger had a nice day, but that's it. I mean, that's it. Truck Series is over.
Since we've already dipped into the news a little bit, James, I did want to point out the fact that I was very excited over the prospects of the Cup race this weekend at Talladega.
Oh, here we go. I was waiting for this.
After Jennifer Jo Cobb was involved in 3 separate accidents during this race in the Truck Series at one of the shortest tracks in the circuit, that she was going to get in a Cup car and race at Talladega in her first Cup race. But guess what, James?
She's got the boot.
She's not.
She's not allowed to drive. Resume denied.
NASCAR says it has nothing to do with her performance this past weekend, but I'm sure it raised some eyebrows.
I'm just, I felt like such a bad guy coming on here last week and, for lack of better terminology, pissing in her Cheerios.
Right.
Because that's basically what I did. But then she goes out there and just let your eyeballs do the testing.
She proved why she should not be running a Cup car at Talladega. I'm sorry, guys. If there's Jennifer Jo Cobb fans out there, I apologize. But
this isn't a. I feel like we need to put the disclaimer out there, even though I don't know.
It's not because you're right. It's not because she's a woman.
Because she's a woman driver.
No,
it's just because she's a bad driver.
Right. She's just not a good driver.
As I put my head down on my desk.
Right.
Yes, she's a bad driver.
Guys, I don't want Norm Benning running in the Cup Series race at Talladega either.
We got Quinn Houff out there every week.
Right.
And how did Mike Joyce say it? And there's Cody Ware.
Yeah. Right.
We've got all these. I mean, we've got a lot of people who don't deserve to be out there, and Jennifer Jo Cobb is just on the list of people who don't deserve to be out there.
The worst thing is, James, is can you imagine being Jennifer Jo Cobb when guys like Quinn Hoff and Cody
Oh,
Ware
God, I
are
know.
approved to run in the Cup Series, and they're like, yeah, no, how about you just stay down?
I know, you're members of the same club. You just, some people get the invite some days and some people don't.
Ah.
Golly, man.
It was-
she had a rough day on Saturday.
Yeah,
Jeez.
part of that was her own doing, which again makes me feel less sorry for her not.
And
making this
Norm,
race.
Norm's just one grumpy dude.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But we
is.
love I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Norm Benning's old school, but
Oh,
I don't know
yeah.
why he's getting into it with Jennifer Jo Cobb.
No.
Good grief.
No.
Just drive away, man.
No.
Goodness.
According to Bob Pockrass, NASCAR says the decision was based on performance and quality. NASCAR has been more stringent with recent Cup approvals. I don't know when that's been, but apparently they have been.
Well, after all the Derek Cope stuff at the Daytona 500, maybe?
Right, maybe. She was years ago okayed for Cup, but if you don't run in the series for a year, it must get reapproved. Not a result of the Norm Benning run-in at Richmond.
Nah.
So,
Okay.
pretty sure if she wouldn't have had the run-in with Norm Benning and wouldn't have caused 3 separate cautions in the Truck Series race, that she probably would be running in the Cup race. But
Yeah, it's weird that they announced it and then, didn't have the resume approved at that point. So that's strange. But either way, out she goes. JJ Yaley was running that car, by the way.
There you go.
I saw that. So there you go.
Okay. With that, we leave the Richmond weekend. Thank God.
Eric, we talked about Richmond way longer than I thought we would.
Way too long for what.
Well, we
had
didn't
there.
really talk just Richmond, but
That's true.
You know what I mean.
We have almost exhausted the news for the week. The only other news we have is the biggest of the week. Speaking of female drivers, Hailie Deegan is the latest SRX driver. Did you hear the crickets? I wish I had crickets on the soundboard. So, James, I have a question. What does SRX stand for?
Superstar Racing
Experience. Right? Yeah. What's the first word?
Superstar.
Really? No offense to Hailie Deegan, but has she reached superstar status?
Oh, I see what you did there. That was good. No.
I did.
No.
Okay, so I have a question, James, and this is an honest question. I'm not.
Well,
picking
she drops the median age average down from like 65 to 63.
I am not picking on Hailie Deegan with this. I like Hailie Deegan. I want her to do well.
She's a great personality. Yes.
Does this discredit this series?
Well, the series has Michael Waltrip and Greg Biffle in it. So.
That's true.
No.
James, I want your opinion. Are you still as optimistic about the SRX series?
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited.
I think this is going to be a flop. This is going to be garbage.
Eric. Golly.
It is going to be garbage. And the only good thing about it is going to be that Alan Bestwick is there to make the call.
You flip-flop more than pancakes,
dude,
man.
I am not happy with this car. I haven't liked the car since we saw the renderings.
Who cares about the car?
I think the way the car looks, I don't think it is. I watched the videos of it. It looks like crap. It doesn't look good on the short track, James.
Trust Ray Evernham.
The dirt, okay. It looked okay on the dirt. It looked better than a Cup car on dirt. But it did not look good on the short track.
Give it a chance, man.
It just
it's only 6 races.
It just didn't.
Eric, you were all in.
I don't know that I ever was all in on this series.
Oh, I've got the no.
I don't think you find the clip and I will play it next week. I don't
think it's a clip. I've got text.
I do not think I was all in on this series.
When Alan Bestwick was announced,
well, I'm excited about that. Yeah, I want Alan Bestwick to be in front of a microphone. That's where he should be.
Gosh darn it, Eric. Come with me, man. Come on, let's get on the bandwagon.
Let me put it this way. I think that I think
we
NASCAR,
should make this an SRX podcast.
I think the NASCAR iRacing or eNASCAR Pro Invitational Series will be better than the SRX.
Well, if we sign Keelan up for the SRX, we'll be all set.
Keelan got what, 22nd?
No, 30 whatever.
Yeah, he finished 2 laps down. I know that much. How come you didn't put that in the notes, James? We're not talking about iRacing? Come on, man.
No, if I'm making the notes, I'm not putting iRacing in it.
I watched the highlights last night, and I'm with you on it now. I'm over So last year it was cool because we were kind of taking it seriously because it's all we had. This year it's just dumb. It is. It's just dumb. And when the
race was over and Mike Joy was still calling it.
I know, right? When you put a 9-year-old in the race, it kind of just becomes really dumb.
And they wouldn't let Timmy Hill run.
Right.
And remember when Bubba Wallace lost a sponsor last year
Right.
because of iRacing, and then
Yeah.
we're letting Keelan. And listen, I know it's wrong. I love that Keelan was driving.
Yeah,
Don't get
me
me
too.
wrong.
I
It's very
agree.
cool.
I agree.
But what do you want this thing to be?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Same thing with SRX. Like, what do you want this to be? If we're gonna have Haley Deegan driving in it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, what do you want it? What do you want it to be? You want it to be a race of champions or what?
Right. See,
Like,
I saw this as an IROC series, and as we've gotten the driver announcements, now, I mean, I've kind of expected it.
The thing is, though, you know, we know that Denny Hamlin wants to run, and Kyle Busch possibly might run. Like, those are all because there's going to be the one superstar rotation car. So we're going to see some of our drivers out there that we watch every week.
Let me give you my prediction of SRX, James. Here's my prediction of what SRX is going to be, okay?
Let's have
Are you
it.
ready for it? It is 3 letters, just like SRX. 3 letters that will tell you everything you need to know about what I think will happen with SRX. Are you ready?
SUX?
Nope. XFL.
Oh, geez. Come on.
That's what it's going to be, man. It's going to be, hey, here's this alternate to NASCAR that's going to be great. That isn't.
I don't think they want to be an alternate to NASCAR.
I think they've taken some shots at NASCAR.
Well, that's
already.
because the person in charge in NASCAR aren't getting along very well. They're fighting.
I'm sorry, man. I'll tune in. I'm gonna watch it. I hope it's good. I'm not rooting against it, but I'm losing optimism for this series the closer we get to it starting.
6 races of the year. I'm looking forward to it, and they're running on really cool old racetracks and track and stuff.
I think
cool.
that's also part of the problem, though. I think there's a reason we don't race the Cup cars or NASCAR on those racetracks, James.
Well, we're gonna find out.
They're not good.
Yeah, we're gonna find out.
I don't know how you prepare a track like that for a television audience. I just don't know how you. No, seriously though, I don't know how you light a track. I don't know how you make a track like that look good on TV. You just don't. I loved Tri-City Motor Speedway when it was asphalt. When they stuck it on TNT with the ASA series, it looked like crap.
That was 30 years ago.
I'm telling you.
That was a long time ago, Eric. Eric, we're older than you think we are.
Yeah, I know. No, I know how old I am, man. I know how old I am. It's ridiculous.
I'll say about this series, and if this is where it ends, this is where it ends.
Yeah.
I'll say about the series what I said in the beginning when it first announced. You've got Evernham and Stewart. Those 2 guys do not fail. They will make this successful. I believe in it. That's why I'm sticking by it.
How is Evernham's Cup team?
Well, that's a different situation.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Eric, go look at Ray Evernham's trophy case and his bank account and tell me he's a failure.
Okay. All right.
You know why Evernham Racing failed.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I know. I know why.
It wasn't because of Ray Evernham.
Well, no.
It was a guy named George that came in.
That was some of it.
Okay.
That was some of it.
Okay.
James, guess what? You know the best thing is that we have coming off of Richmond in a boring short track race? We have
Yes, I do.
Talladega, man. Talladega.
Eric Church song playing in my head right now.
Oh, I can't wait. This is my favorite weekend of the year. There's 2 of them, and they're both Talladega.
Yeah, they're the best.
They are also the most frightening weekends of the year. It's scary. And you know what's even more scary than the Cup race is that we're going to run an ARCA race this weekend.
Oh, that's scariest, yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited. Can't wait to go to Talladega. Can't wait to watch some racing. I'll give an early shout out. My cousin Derek will be there.
Oh, nice.
Yep. He was supposed to be there last year when they had I think it was last year, 2 years ago when they had the rain, whatever. 2 years ago when they had the rain last year because of COVID. So he's finally getting to use his tickets at Talladega this weekend. So
and our buddy Todd, he'll be there.
Yeah, Todd will be there.
Bringing the rain with him.
Yeah, exactly. Saturday looks rough. Hopefully Sunday's good. So, just to recap, James kicked my butt last week in our picks. He won 109-67. Wasn't even close.
Oh, I got my lead back.
Yeah, you got your lead back. You now lead 747-720. You have more than 20-point lead.
Well, lose it all this weekend.
Yeah,
so.
as we go into Talladega, the race that one wreck will completely ruin our day. And so, James, I know that iRacing is stupid. Hold on, we're not doing Cup yet. Let me start with Xfinity first. It's the Egg Pro 300. I'm assuming that's what the race is called because James put it in the notes and I trust him.
That's what I said. That's what it looks like.
So I'm struggling with this one because I got 2 picks that I want to make for this one.
And you get to pick first.
I know.
You're in the pressure cooker.
I know. I wish that I got to pick second because you would probably pick one of these. I'm just gonna go with the obvious, and I'm gonna pick Justin Haley because he's the restricted point king.
Wow.
So I'm going Justin Haley on this one.
Wow. Okay, and I had 2 picks for this as well. You took one of them.
Yeah. The other one is AJ Allmendinger, isn't it?
No.
Oh, really? Because that's my second pick.
I'm gonna make sure he qualifies for me though first. Yeah, I'm gonna take Austin Cindric, the Daytona winner.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Austin Cindric.
But Justin Haley, man, is one.
I forgot you weren't allowed to take Austin Cindric. You took him in the last Xfinity race.
I didn't even remember. I just knew I didn't take Justin Haley, so.
Yeah, I was gonna take Justin Haley first, but you sneaked him out of there. So that's cool. That's cool.
Then the Cup Series Geico 500. I already hinted. iRacing means nothing, but when you take a guy who's not even run iRacing hardly at all, had to dust off his rig, and comes out and wins at Talladega.
Is this the best?
I got to pick Brad Keselowski as my guy.
Yeah. Oh man, you took it. Yeah, I always pick Brad at Talladega. He's the best, man.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
Yeah, he's good.
Well, you took Brad. I'll take his teammate, and I'll take Ryan Blaney.
Ryan Blaney, that's a good one.
He's about to run out of luck, I would think, but he's won 2 of the last 3. So I'll take him.
I mentioned I did not watch the iRacing thing, but I did watch the highlights. I loved the fact that they have Joey Logano in the booth / racing, and Joey was joking about blocking throughout the race.
Yeah.
That was good. I like the fact that he acknowledges the fact that he blocks like a freaking idiot.
Yeah. Chase Briscoe pulling the Cole Trickle was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Did you see that highlight?
Yeah.
He never let off the gas. I was like, wow, look at him go through that wreck. That's awesome.
And then Kyle Busch completely annihilated Christopher Bell after the race.
Oh my God. Yeah.
James, how we doing fantasy? I didn't even look at it.
Oh, Alex Bowman, you cost me so many points. You did really well though, Eric.
Did I?
Yep. So top 3 are Richmond, Justin 713. Then the KB show.
Wow.
Second.
I didn't even look. I didn't know I did that well.
I know. You just beat our points leader, Ranger Runyon, by 2. So you gained 2 on the leader. Good.
Nice.
good job. And then I would have scored, I think, with Alex Bowman winning, that cost me 30 points. So I think I would have ended up second or something. I don't know. Anyway, it cost me a bunch. Overall standings, I mentioned Ranger. He's still out in the lead. Then it's pretty close. Raging Redneck second. Eric Young, with your performance on Sunday, you are now 3rd overall.
Dang.
Well done.
How'd that happen?
What's really funny about this? So, we mentioned Todd on the podcast a handful of times already tonight.
Right.
Eric, you're at 1590. Todd's right behind you, 1587. And right behind Todd at 1585 is me. So we're all.
That's funny.
So us 3 Yahoos are under a blanket. So
that's awesome.
That's good. We had a new person join the league.
Really?
Let me see. I thought we had. Yeah, we got 18 now. Hot Rod Todd, is that the new one of our newbies?
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't
we saw it.
So.
Anyway, I thought I'd shout him out because he's looks like one of the. I don't know. I saw 18. I thought we had a 17-person league, and I looked and we had 18. So I'm like, hey,
nice. That's cool.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Welcome. You probably still beat us by the end of the
Probably.
season.
It looks like he's been racing for a handful of weeks, but anyway, there you go.
All right. Shout outs. I want to take an opportunity to shout out the former 7-time Cup Series champ who made his IndyCar debut this weekend. James mentioned it. Finished 19th. Kind of proved that maybe this IndyCar thing isn't going to be as easy as a lot of people wanted to make it seem like it was going to be. Couple laps down for Jimmy and nice little spin out, losing control, and heck of a miss on the giant first lap wreck that took out a bunch of good cars at the Barber Motorsports Park. But good on Jimmy to get his IndyCar start, get that pressure out of the way, and now he can move on and run a regular season and at least on the road courses and be an IndyCar driver.
Yeah, he's out there. He's doing his thing.
Heck of an IndyCar series this year, guys. We got, between him and Roman Grosjean, and who's the other guy? Alex Palou won his first IndyCar race.
Yep.
This weekend.
Yeah, Roman Grosjean's a good one. If people don't know who that is, he's was F1 for
Yeah.
the last 4 or 5 years with Haas.
Yep.
So he's been around for a little bit.
Yep. So great series for the IndyCar this year. Great rookie crop, if you want to call them that. And yeah, pretty cool. So Joseph Newgarden and Ryan Hunter-Reay both involved in that first lap wreck. Pretty big disappointment to see them way in the back, 23rd and 24th on the field. So don't worry, we won't talk a lot of IndyCar here, but got to hit on it, man. We got a NASCAR guy running over there now.
Yeah, we do. And yeah, I mean, if we're talking F1 too, Lewis Hamilton lost.
Yeah.
Is always a shocker.
Right? I mean, that happens like twice a year, right?
It doesn't happen very often. So, no, that's cool. There's actually a really cool commercial I saw. So F1 announced that they're going to be driving on the Miami street circuit next year.
Yeah.
And they did a commercial of Max Verstappen driving on the beach in his F1 car.
Nice.
It's pretty cool. If you guys just search it out, just search Miami F1 2022, and that commercial should pop up somewhere. But very cool.
That's cool.
I just wanted to mention that.
Any shout outs for you other than that?
Yeah. So I mentioned, a couple of people who've been listening, just like family and friends of mine. So I mentioned my brother-in-law, Mike. So shout out to Mike, as he's been listening to the podcast and giving me some good feedback. So I appreciate it. And then my buddy Taylor, also a big NASCAR fan. Him and I went to Michigan together one time. So he's been listening to the show. So I just really appreciate the support from you guys. So thanks for doing that. So yeah, that's my shout outs.
Nice. James, where can they find you on social media if they want to chat with you during the week?
At James Cush on Twitter.
You can find me at TSuperspeedway on Twitter. You can find the podcast on Facebook at facebook.com/TheSuperspeedway. If you want more of the podcast, you can visit us at thesuperspeedway.com. You can find old episodes of the show, articles from past races, photos, show notes. You can find the links to all the articles we discussed today and in past episodes there as well. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. And if you want to help out the show and become a patron, you can do that at patreon.com/thesuperspeedway. James, it's the best weekend of the year. It's almost like Christmas. We go to Talladega Superspeedway this weekend. The biggest, fastest track in the Cup Series. I don't think it's the fastest anymore, but it's still awesome.
It's plenty fast.
We'll see who gets through the big one. We'll see who gets the win this weekend. Anything goes. Xfinity and Cup both this weekend. ARCA as well. Man, James, we don't do ARCA picks. We should really do. No, I'm just kidding.
No, gosh, no.
Can you imagine trying to do ARCA picks?
I would never get anything right.
That would be a mess. You usually can just pick like one driver and they win every week. So
yeah.
All right, Talladega this week, guys. We will be back next week to break it all down, talk about the big one and all the fun things that happen at Talladega. Until then, everybody, let's go racing.